Won't you take me home and give me wings to fly? We can be alone in the castle in the sky. We can run away and leave this world behind. Please just take me home.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Storybook Crochet. In today's tutorial, I am going to show you how to crochet the sweetest little baby slippers, and the best part is you can make them in 4 different sizes simply by switching up your hook size. I will add the different hook sizes that you need for each size of bootie in the description down below. This pattern is super beginner friendly and quick to whip up, and as a special touch, I'll also be showing you how to crochet an adorable little daisy to add to your slippers at the end of the video. For materials today, you are going to need a weight for worsted yarn, the hook size that you need to obtain the size of slipper that you're wanting to make. Again, that information is in the description below. You'll need a pair of scissors, and you will need a yarn needle to weave in your ends. Alright, so to start off our little baby slipper, we're going to start by making the bottom or the sole of our shoe. So to start this off, we're going to make a chain of 10. So you'll just make your slip knot and then go ahead and chain 10. Alright, so once you have your chain of 10 made, we're going to start by working in the second chain from our hook. So you'll skip this first one and then insert your hook into the second chain there. And we're going to start by making 2 single crochets in that one chain, or this is also known as an increase. So you'll put your first 2 single crochets in that second chain from your hook. After that, we're going to put 1 single crochet in each of the next 4 chains. Alright, once your 4 single crochets are done, we're now going to half double crochet across the next 3 chains. So to half double crochet, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into the next chain, pull up your loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So that's your first half double crochet, and then you'll make 2 more. Alright, you should have 1 chain left, and in this last chain we're going to put 6 half double crochets all in that very last chain. So every one of those 6 half double crochets will go into the same chain. Alright, and that's what that should look like once you have all 6 made. So now we're going to work on the opposite side of our chain, and you may have seen this in previous patterns. So all that means is we worked our way around, and now our chain is upside down. We're going to work along the bottom side of that original chain. And you can also crochet over your tail here, so you'll just go underneath that as well when you insert your hook. Alright, so our next stitches are going to be 3 half double crochets over the next 3 stitches. Alright, so we have our 3 half double crochets made, and next we're going to make 4 single crochets. Alright, so at this point you should have 1 chain left, and in that very last chain we're going to make an increase. So you'll put your 2 single crochets in that last stitch. Once you have those made, you're going to slip stitch to the very first single crochet that you made of this round. All right, once you have that, you're just going to chain 1. And then before we move on to round number 2, if you crocheted over your tail, you can go ahead and snip that off. If not, you can just go ahead and weave that in if you want to get that tail out of your way. Alright, so now moving on to round 2, we're going to start out by making some half double crochets, and we're going to make a half double crochet increase in the same stitch as our chain. So you'll make your first half double crochet in that same stitch that your chain is attached to, and then you'll make a second half double crochet in that same stitch. Alright, and then we're just going to repeat that one more time in the next stitch. So a half double crochet increase, or 2 half double crochets in the same stitch. Alright, after we have our 2 increases complete, we're going to make 8 half double crochets across the next 8 stitches. So 1 in each of the next 8 stitches. Alright, and now we're going to make more half double crochet increases, so we're going to put 2 half double crochets in each of the next 5 stitches. After your increases are complete, we're now going to make 7 half double crochets. And in our very last 2 stitches here, we're going to make 2 more half double crochet increases. So 2 half double crochets in each of the last 2 stitches. Alright, so round number 3 will be our last round for the bottom of our shoe. So we're going to start by making a single crochet increase in the same chain, or the same stitch as our chain. So you'll put 2 single crochets in that one stitch. Alright, and then in the next stitch we're just going to put 1 single crochet. So we have an increase and a single crochet, and we're going to repeat that one more time. So in the third stitch there, you're going to increase, and then in the next one, 1 single crochet. Alright, after those first 4 stitches are done there, we're going to make 9 single crochets. Alright, so for the front of the toe here, we're going to repeat what we did at the beginning of the round. We're going to start our first stitch with an increase, and then our second stitch with 1 single crochet. And you're going to repeat that pattern 5 times around. So increase and then single crochet. We are now going to make 7 single crochets. Alright, after those 7 are made, in the next stitch you're going to make an increase. Then you're going to make 1 single crochet. And then in the last, you're going to make an increase. Alright, and then slip stitch to the very first single crochet of this round. And chain 1. And that finishes off the very bottom part of our baby shoe. So next we're going to start building up the sides. Alright, so for round 4, we're going to be working in the back loop only. So normally when we make a stitch, you can see the V's here that each stitch makes. We go under both. But for this round, we're going to go in between the V and just go under that very back loop. And you'll do this for every single stitch around. So we're going to half double crochet around. So you're going to start in that first stitch there that's the same as your chain. So you'll go underneath that back loop only and make your first half double crochet. And then you'll just repeat that all the way around for every stitch. Half double crocheting in the back loop only for round number 4. And you can start to see that leaving the front loops left unworked kind of leaves a little edging there to our booty, and you can see that better on this finished example here. And that's the effect that we're wanting by working in the back loop only. Alright, and then we're going to slip stitch to our first half double crochet and chain 1. Alright, so starting round 5, we're going to start by making 11 single crochets. So starting in that first stitch as your chain, and you'll do that with every single round. You're going to make your first single crochet and then you'll make 10 more, so 11 total single crochets. Alright, at this point we are going to start decreasing for the front of the toe so that we can get this effect that we're needing to bring that in. Alright, so we're going to be making half double crochet decreases, and I will show you how to make those. So you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, pull up your loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, pull up your loop. You have 5 loops on your hook this time, and then you'll yarn over and pull through all 5 loops. So we turn those 2 stitches into 1. After you make your first half double crochet decrease, you're going to just make 1 regular half double crochet in the next stitch. And we're going to repeat that pattern around a total of 7 times. So in the next 2 stitches, you're going to make your decrease, and then you'll make your regular half double crochet. So just repeat that again a total of 7 times around the toe of our slipper here. After your last half double crochet is made, you're then going to make 10 single crochets. Alright, after your last single crochet, you'll slip stitch to the first one made and chain 1, and that completes round number 5. For round 6, we're going to start by making 12 single crochets. Alright, after your 12 are made, we're now going to make 7 half double crochet decreases in a row. Alright, and then we'll finish off the round by making 9 single crochets. And then to finish that off, we'll make our slip stitch and chain 1. All right, for round 7, we're going to start by making 2 single crochet decreases. So going in that same stitch as your chain, and then in the next stitch, you'll make your first decrease, and then you'll make 1 more decrease after that. All right, once your 2 decreases are complete, you're going to make 8 single crochets. Next, we are going to make 4 half double crochet decreases. Once your decreases are complete, you'll make 6 single crochets. And then you're going to make a single crochet decrease over the last 2 stitches to finish off this round. All right, and then we'll slip stitch, but this time we're not going to chain 1. And we'll move straight on to round number 8, where we're going to just slip stitch in each stitch around. So as you do this, make sure you're not slip stitching tightly. You just want very even slip stitches, not too loose but not too tight. All right, once you make your last slip stitch there, just kind of pull that loop out a little bit. And we're going to use an invisible join to finish this off. So just cut a little bit of a tail here. And then what you're going to do is take that yarn and pull that out of that loop. Like that. Grab your yarn needle. Okay, and then you're going to find the next slip stitch that you made. And you're going to go under both of the loops of that slip stitch and pull your yarn through. And then you're going to go in the very last slip stitch you made, but you're only going to go under that top loop or the back loop, and then pull your yarn through. And you can see that kind of creates another stitch there, so it looks very even and like there's not just a break there in our stitches. Once you have that, I just kind of bring that yarn back through to the other side, going underneath them. And then you're just going to go through and weave in your tail there. So I just go through the top row here. You can go through the second row, pull your yarn through, and then I go back again another time. And that just finishes it off so it won't come undone. Alright, so that finishes off our first booty, so you'll just want to go rewatch that again to make your second one. And then if you want, I will show you real quick how to make the little daisies to put on the top as a little bonus for this pattern. Alright, so we are going to start with the center of our flower with our yellow yarn, and we're going to make a magic ring. So to do this, I take the end of the yarn and I wrap it around my 3 fingers here, crossing over the top as I go. Then I'll take my hook, go underneath, grab that top piece of yarn there, pull up a loop, and then I just hold that onto my hook and then chain 1, and that will secure the ring for you. Once you have your ring made, we're going to make 6 single crochets in our ring. So you're going to go inside the ring with your hook, grab your loop and pull that up and make your first single crochet. And you'll just repeat that, working around the yarn as you go. Alright, once you have your 6 made, you're going to take that tail and pull on it to close that opening. And that completes round number 1. So we're going to make a slip stitch to the very first single crochet that we made, and then we're going to chain 1. Alright, so at this point I'm just going to go ahead and cut this tail short so it's out of my way. For round 2, we're going to start by making 2 single crochets. So work into the same stitch as your chain and make your first single crochet, and then make your second single crochet in the next stitch. And then in our third stitch, we're going to make an increase. And then we're just going to repeat that one more time. So 2 single crochets and an increase. Alright, so at this point we're going to go ahead and change to our white yarn. So you're going to go ahead and insert your hook into the very first stitch of that round. Cut a shorter tail of your yellow, and then grab your white yarn. Grab that with your hook and pull that through. And that's going to attach your white yarn for you, and then you're going to chain 2. Alright, so every petal will be worked the same. So you'll start with your chain 2, and then you're going to work into that same stitch as your chain, and you're going to make 2 double crochets. So yarn over, insert your hook, pull up your loop. You have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over and pull through the second 2 loops. And you repeat that one more time, so you have 2 double crochets made. Alright, so we have our chain 2, 2 double crochets. Now we're going to chain 2 again and slip stitch into the same stitch we've been working in. And that is our first petal complete. So to start the next petal, we're going to first slip stitch into the next stitch there, and then we'll just repeat that. So chain 2, 2 double crochets, chain 2, and slip stitch into the same stitch, and then slip stitch into the next stitch and repeat. So you'll repeat that around until you have a total of 8 petals made, and then I'll show you how to finish that off and to sew it onto our baby booty. Alright, so we now have all of our petals made. You're just going to make 1 more slip stitch in the same stitch as your first petal that you made to finish that off. Once you have that, just kind of pull your yarn out and cut a little bit longer of a tail so we can sew that onto our booty. And then you're just going to finish that off by pulling that through in between the first and last petal there. Alright, and that finishes off our flower. So then I just take the 2 tails at the back and I just go ahead and just tie those off, as we're not going to see them once we sew this onto our little slipper. Okay, I put about 3 knots in that, and then go ahead and just cut those short. Alright, and then you'll just take your yarn needle and your booty, and then you're just going to place that on the top over the toe part, and then you'll just go underneath, grab a stitch on the slipper here, and then come up through one of the bases of the petals. Make sure you're going through the white part and not the yellow though. Okay, and then go down through the next petal, grabbing a stitch on the booty. And you'll just repeat that all the way around until you have it completely secure, and then you'll just weave in your end through the back of the white part of the flower. And there you have it, adorable little baby slippers in 4 different sizes, plus a sweet little daisy to finish them off. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and feel inspired to make a few pairs for the little ones in your life. If you did, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below letting me know which size or color you'll be trying first, and of course, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my future crochet projects. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Won't you